Namaste and welcome to Sonali Joshi's astrology channel. Today I'm going to talk about some interesting conjunction, and that is conjunction of Saturn and Mercury. Have you noticed that somebody who is very curious, who wants to continuously communicate, who considers life to be somewhat easy, stands by or sits next to a person who is experienced, has a lot of patience, but sometimes feels irritated or um, has a lot of wiseness due to his age and experience? What will happen? Well, the first thing that can happen is the elderly person, the experienced person can tell, hey, kiddo, do this is the right thing to do. That means it is time to get law, order, and a kind of discipline attached to the way we communicate. Saturn Mercury is a good conjunction provided you can wait to hear back from the other person. You may notice you write something to a person and you are waiting, but answers are delayed. Most of the communications are delayed these days for a reason. People want to see if you are really interested, if you are looking for it from a long term, or you are just doing certain things casually. Mercury is like a prince, and even though Mercury is a great planet about logic and communication, when it comes to Saturn, Mercury has to slow down. Mercury has to be patient and has to show a particular behavior in terms of communication. So check your typos, any spelling mistakes, grammar. Follow a norm of writing and communicating. If you're communicating with your peers or whether you're communicating with your superiors, make sure communication has a way. There has to be a routine, discipline, organized and planned approach when it comes to communication. Even those of you who are creators or have YouTube channel, do reels on Instagram or regularly post on Facebook, you will notice there will be a sudden amount of comments coming related to how you should do something. The regular comment that I get on my channel is, मैडम आप हिंदी में वीडियो कीजिए. मैं समझ सकती हूँ, मैं हिंदी में वीडियो करने का प्रयत्न करूँगी, किंतु सब लोगों के लिए कभी कभी मैं अंग्रेज़ी का इस्तेमाल करती हूँ. यूजुअली आई ट्राई टू गिव द सबटाइटल्स इन हिंदी. सबटाइटल्स अगर हिंदी में होंगे तो आप हिंदी में मेरे वीडियोस देख सकते हैं. Saturn Mercury is a conjunction which also will create, in Aquarius sign particularly, difficulty in getting peer reviews. This is a placement where peers, your competitors, can be little bit jealous of you. There is a discrepancy between the level of energy you can show and they can show. However, this is a very good conjunction if you are looking for writing related jobs, media related jobs, any work related to communication on a long term basis. Usually people who write novels, make a movie, or involved in movie production as a writer or as an editor, Saturn Mercury is a great combination to have. Saturn is usually comfortable in the sign Aquarius, and Mercury will really do well in the Aquarius sign. When it is in the sign of Shatabisha, you will see people communicating about technology, future things, religion, and related to agriculture, farming, land, property rentals. You may have somebody with this placement in Aquarius, or even Saturn Mercury in fields of law, IT, engineering, media, or soft toy industry or toy industry, or the support of elderly people. You can also work as a speech therapist, hearing related specialist who would help people improve their communication. This is a great combination to have in your horoscope. But as a person, you will have to get into the habit of communicating in an orderly way, in a dedicated approach, planned and organized way, trying to follow the norms of the society. If Saturn Mercury conjunction is placed in the first house, you will be known for how particular you are in your communications. Your image, your identity is defined by that. If it is in the second house, you might have taken little time to communicate. You may be versatile in one language, but acquiring second language can give you little delay. But once you learn it, you are very efficient in that, and you are known for the particular way you follow, you talk, speak and communicate. In the 12th and second house, depending on the aspects on this conjunction, some people can have issues related to hearing or even related to speech. In the third house, this can create overthinking, overanalyzing abilities or sometimes anxious thoughts. But that is why these people will try to communicate faster and make some mistakes in that. In the fourth house, Saturn Mercury conjunction is about understanding that why mother is very disciplined about your education, the way you talk and think. Communication is learned by how the family communicates, how the household communications are done. Sometimes the kid may have the feeling of I am alone and I have to talk to myself. In the fifth house, Saturn Mercury conjunction can show some delay in learning, but these people will ultimately find the way out because they know once they apply themselves, they will have better understanding. You get Saturn in the fifth house because of the karma of cheating in competition. Now you learn what it feels and then you grow slowly. In the sixth house, Saturn Mercury combination can be you are someone who is dealing with pets. You can be animal communicator. You can also work to heal the animals, and this is a placement which shows your maternal uncle, mama typically, and mausi can have some issues in their life related to communications or any relative depending on their horoscopes. But in general, this will allow you to have communications with your maternal family. Saturn Mercury communications in the seventh house indicates you have partner or a life partner who is very particular about how they communicate. There might be little delay in responding, but the way they respond is very orderly fashion, and they would choose their words very carefully. It could be somebody, a specialist or a writer or a senior professional in media and marketing. In the 8th house, Saturn Mercury will create a gossip writer. People who can be a ghost writers and write multiple novels, multiple communications related to some subjects that are not commonly taken, something that is hidden, or there could be somebody who is a researcher dealing with Earth and Earth's crust and related things that are under the Earth's surface. You can be accountant or somebody working in the field of insurance, inheritance. In the 6th house, you can also become somebody who is a risk management person. In the 8th house, you will also have the karma of working with elderly people who have issues of communication. Maybe they have dementia, or they don't understand what they're talking, they don't hear enough, their hearing ability is reduced, and you still have to care for them. And doing this will give you a lot of blessings. In the 9th house, Saturn Mercury combination will show that you have either very orthodox views when it comes to any institutionalized, whether it is a religion or higher education or organization. Your boss can be somebody who would always say no when you ask something. and immediately when you redo the things, the decision can change. In the 10th house, Saturn Mercury combination shows at work there is always delay when you communicate first. Saturn usually does very well in the 10th house, and these delays are not due to you but because of the environment. There are policy changes, there are decision changes, and that's why you are in that constant communication loop where you feel things are getting delayed just because you are writing something or communicating something. But this is a good placement to have if you are in any arts related with metal work. Somebody can be a person who is very proficient in metallurgy or material science with Saturn's 10th placement. Usually I see people in the government jobs, but somehow they deal with the either agriculture industry or steel or metal industry, or they can be in a place where they make decisions about certain policies. Saturn is usually a policy maker along with Jupiter or Jupiter's aspect. Same way it can also be a lawyer. In the 11th house, Saturn Mercury combination will create a businessman or a person who is profit savvy. In terms of communications, be careful. They can have a very sweet tongue, and there is a chance that if you don't make sure, there is a chance of getting cheated. Because Rahu's house is 11th house, and when Mercury is there, people will communicate one thing and they have hidden agendas. So even with Saturn being there, depending on the malefic aspect on this Saturn, there is a chance that they are very wise people, they are shrewd people, and they know only one language, that is language about profits. The pending karma of Saturn 11th house is making sure that you communicate well with your father's family. In the 10th house, it is about your father and all the father figures. In the 12th house, when you have a combination of Saturn Mercury, it is a difficult combination to deal with because Mercury is debilitated there, so your logical abilities will create more issues. It is about having complete faith, and Saturn in the 12th house sometimes doesn't allow you to have faith in these religious systems, but you will have to have faith in meditation or some kind of system that works with you to relax your mind, to make you feel your isolated space is worth sitting there. This can bring a job to a person of communicating to the people who are in isolation. So you could be working in a hospital, you can be working in a jail, you can also work in foreign lands in terms of deciding import-export rules or immigration-related policies. Mercury is about communication, but Mercury is also about change. So the quickly Mercury tries to change, Saturn in a way opposes it. So these are opposite kind of energies, even though depending on the house placement. In 7th house, Saturn has a say. In 6th house, usually Mercury has a say. In 3rd house, again Mercury has a say. 1st house, Mercury will dictate the terms, and in 10th and 11th house, usually Saturn will dictate the terms. If your natal Saturn and the transit Saturn positions, depending on the moon where they are, you are emotionally aligned with this Saturn or either emotionally not aligned with this Saturn, and depending on that, number of efforts will change. But this is a position where if person has enough patience, they will create a detailed work. You are a great organizer, you have a potential of a great organizer, planner, and a great communicator. There can be initial delays, but this gives you possibility to become very versatile with multiple languages. Great work as a writer, translator, media person, journalist, or a documentary specialist. Saturn is a karaka of ancient things and archaeology, history, So somebody can be really interested in these areas. Wherever this Saturn is placed, there will be a time, depending on the dasha of either Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter, you will have interest about learning about ancient things, civilizations, history, archaeology, and you will notice your house, if it is in the 4th house, you will have artifacts related to that. This is a great placement. Help somebody who has learning disability, who has disability related to speech and hearing, and do your service there. It's a time to help somebody who needs help in this regard. The basic senses, you should be able to hear, you should be able to see, and you should be able to talk. If somebody is having delay and difficulty, it is a great service towards humanity to help these people. So you can also form a non-profit related to these areas if you have this combination in the 12th house, 6th house and 8th house, and take the step about helping them. If you are doing monthly donations on Sankranti, Amavasya or Purnima, at least you can direct a couple of the donations towards these situations, these institutions, organizations, because it is all of our duty to help someone who has difficulty in these basic skill sets. We can hear, we can listen, we can talk, and we can see. This makes us, this helps us to be on our own, be independent, be self-sufficient. So if somebody is having difficulty in these areas, please go ahead and help. And usually I ask people to do donations before I do their reading. So with this video, I'm going to say it one more time. Thank you for all your donations that you always do. Watch this video, share this video with somebody who has this kind of conjunction in their horoscope or have life issue related to hearing, speech or any other learning disability. Hope this video answers most of your questions related to the conjunction of Saturn and Mercury in all the 12 houses of horoscope. Thank you for your support. Namaste. Thank you. Shubhamastu.